Hi, David.
Hi, Kelly. How's it going tonight?
Pretty good. How about you?
That's good.
David, did you ever find out who the medical helicopter was for the other day?
No, they actually called it off. They couldn't get a helicopter to land, so I'm not sure.
Huh, I never heard.
It was a man, it was the man down on my street that ended up passing away Friday.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we were a little worried, Diane,
I know.
because it said it was on your street. So,
And it was, but it wasn't me, thank goodness.
yeah, thank goodness.
But his
Yeah, for sure.
obituary is in the progress.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I have 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for August 14th, 2023. The workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is always posted at acvsd.org. During this workshop, I'll provide school board members with information that will help to clarify voting items for next Monday. Please keep in mind that the workshops are open for discussion, and feel free to turn off your mic and jump in at any time this evening. And at this time, can I have Madam Secretary conduct the roll call?
Patty Anderson,
Here.
Terry Armagost, Megan Dreher, Brady Fight, Diane Page,
Here.
Jeff Powell,
Here.
Janine Stump, Eric Sundling,
Here.
Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Thank you, Tammy. It's a very exciting time in the district right now, 1 week away from the beginning of a whole new school year. So we do have a number of agenda items in front of you this evening, and without further ado, I'll jump right into the meeting. We don't have anybody from the public or any presentations this evening, but next Monday, we are going to hear from Kara Raybuck. She's a play therapist, and she's going to present information to the school board on how she conducts small groups at the elementary school. And at this time, I'll open it up to see if there are any board concerns that we need to address. Moving right into the consent agenda, letter A on page 5, we have one field trip and 2 conferences in front of you this evening. We have Justine White and the Give Club. They'd like to have permission to take the school van and clean some local veterans' tombstones at cemeteries within the area. And then we have 2 requests from Mrs. Logue to attend various counselor meetings in Clarion. And those are listed throughout the year. And all 3 of those activities will be district money paid for the cost of the substitute, as well as mileage and food. Moving down through the consent agenda. Letter B, we do have a couple new substitutes in front of you, as well as some list later on in the agenda. We have Melissa Bowser as a substitute custodian and secretary. And then we also have Amelia Sherman down as Act 91 classroom management. And just keep in mind that we are going to tentatively approve all Act 91 substitutes this evening. But just keep in mind that Act 91 enables employees or LEAs to employ day-to-day substitutes for educators with inactive certifications, graduates of educator preparation programs, and the subset of those serving as student teachers before they become substitutes. Keep in mind that Act 91 of 2021 gave schools flexibility regarding the shortage of day-to-day substitutes, and the act went from 21 until the end of the 23 school year. So this time, there is a piece of legislation that went through the House and the GOP, and it's in front of the GOP-controlled Senate as well right now. So more to come on classroom monitors, as well as Act 91 substitute teachers, but we employ or plan to use 4 of them at this time if the legislation passes. If it doesn't pass, then we'll go back and remove all Act 91 and classroom monitors. Moving on down through the
Can I
consent.
ask a question?
Oh, yes, Patty.
So I don't have anything against Amelia at all, but my only concern is the jurisdiction of supervision should not be Lori. She should not be supervising a family member. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. You know, I've worked in schools, and currently we do have a similar situation within the district, and we've had supervision and substitutes within the same family for the last 2 years, I believe, maybe 3.
I'm simply saying that in terms of a direct report, it should not be her mother.
You make a good
I
point.
think it sets a bad precedent for, even though you already have a precedent, I think it needs to be corrected. It's not fair for either one if any situations arise.
Thank you, Patty. I'll take that into consideration. Okay, moving down through the consent agenda, letter C, we're going to retroactively approve the cheerleader boosters for a fundraiser that they had participated in July 25th. They used the cafeteria to distribute hoagies and pizza. And then you'll see letter D and E, that's a yearly motion put in front of the school board for Mrs. Sherman and the kindergarten teachers, as well as cafeteria supervisors, school counselor, school nurse, myself. We have a kindergarten orientation each year. And we're going to have a very busy Monday, August 21st, with the opening in-service day, kindergarten orientation, and then letter E will move into 7th grade and new student orientation up at the junior senior high school. And then we'll move into the Ron Botts gym renaming, as well as finishing off the evening with a school board meeting face-to-face at the junior senior high school cafeteria. So we have a number of items going on, but the administrative team and myself are ready to dive into with the support of the school board. Any questions on the consent agenda before moving on? Under finance and purchase, we'll be paying the bills next week and have a detailed discussion about that. I'd like to draw your attention to letter H, cafeteria report. It's in your packet from Stacy Reddick. And that comes right into letter I with the increased cost of lunches. Part of our program that we utilize, Primero Edge, there's a number of calculations, and the state is recommending that we increase our lunch prices by 10 cents. And we do understand that's difficult for the families, but I guess a little bit of good news is we do have the free breakfast program scheduled for this year for all students here at AC Valley. So I do encourage parents to utilize that program. And we do apologize at this time, but that is a recommendation from the state due to, obviously increasing cost for food and such. Moving from finance and purchase into personnel on the top of page 2, we have a number of items in front of you this evening. Letter A, we're going to re-advertise for the head varsity boys basketball coach here at AC Valley. We've yet to be able to fill that position. There is some interest locally, but we're going through the formal process. We'll advertise and hopefully be able to have a qualified candidate in front of you in September. We're skipping over letter B. That motion will be removed. And then letter C, this is within the special education department and the needs that we have within the district. We will be making Danielle Lutz, who's a part-time child-specific aide, into full-time. And as you can see, she's been through the probation, all the paperwork's on file, and she'll be at $13.33 per hour with a full benefit package. Letter D is a change to the stipend to Carrie Longo, or federal programs and grant coordinator. This will be from July 1st, 2023 till June 30th, 2024, a supplemental salary of $15,000. That is an increase with the anticipation of additional grants and Title I-D. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Title I-D, which is delinquent youth, at the voting meeting. But we do have a outside facility renting the old Mid-Atlantic Youth Building, and it's named Rite of Passage. And there will be students attending that secure lockdown facility that will qualify for federal monies. Moving on to letter E, we have a letter from Morgan Craddy, who's an AC Valley graduate. She was a wonderful student, standout athlete, and a great volleyball player. She put in to be a volunteer for the junior varsity and varsity girls volleyball program. Letter F, we have a yearly letter from Colin McNanny, also another AC Valley graduate and a longtime volunteer for the football program, and all his paperwork's on file. As we move down through the agenda, letter G and H are two letters of retirement from our cafeteria staff, from June Maley, who's been with the district since 2000, and Tony Klein, who's been with the district from 2005. And we're sad to see these two go, but really happy that we were able to work with them on a daily basis. June and Tony were very friendly, hardworking, and the kids loved them. So they're going to be very difficult to replace. We'll do our very best. Moving into letter I, we did post that internally due to the time frame of the retirement letters. So we have one substitute who worked last year within the cafeteria. She submitted a letter. Stacy met with her and we'll interview her before Monday, the 21st. But we are making a recommendation to hire Jessica Schmidt. She will be a part-time cafeteria worker. She'll go through the 60-day probation period and will end up at $16.54 per hour. And then you'll see letter J is a formal request to advertise to fill the second part-time permanent cafeteria position in the local newspapers and on the website. And then finally, we have two lists in front of you. Letter K and L is the substitute teacher or substitute list in general. And then we also have the volunteer list in front of you for approval as well. I covered a lot of items there. I'll pause and see if there are any kind of questions or comments under personnel. Moving into
David,
instruction.
the two lists, have you,
Yes.
I don't think you've sent them to us yet, have you?
I'm not sure. I thought Tammy put them on the Google Drive, but Tammy, do we have them out yet?
No, I'm waiting to hear back from one sub, and then I had sent the volunteer roster to Dr. Jordan and Dave Sherman to take a look at before I put that with your packets on Thursday.
Okay, so it'll be out on the drive.
Yes, it will be.
Thank you, Tammy. You do a great job.
Thanks, Tammy. And Tammy does have a large workload in front of her to ensure that we have clearances, the names are appropriate, everything's up to date. So it'll definitely be out there before we formally vote on the 21st. She's working diligently on it. Moving down to instructional services, we do have a couple handbooks in front of you that Mrs. Sherman is going to talk about. But before we get into that, we do have a list of music events, and I just reviewed it, and it came from Mrs. Karen Hetrick as well as Mrs. Jenny Lowry. In October, we have a Clarion County Marching Band Festival. In November, on the 16th, we have the CCMEA County Band and Chorus Festival. It's over at Union. December 13th, we have the high school chorus and band concert at the high school auditorium. December 15th is the elementary Christmas concert at the high school auditorium during the day. We have the ARCA Educational Outreach Program on December 18th. It's going to be during the day at the elementary and high school. In January, we have District 3 Band and District 3 Chorus. February, we have District 3 Jazz. We have Region 2 Band and the High School Musical. That'll be from February 29th to March 2nd at the high school auditorium. In March, we have the Region 2 Chorus, and that's at Oil City High School. April, we have PMEA All-State Conferences. That'll be at Erie. And in May, we have the elementary band and chorus concert at the high school on May 10th. And then we have the high school chorus and band concert in the evening on May 16th. So Jenny and Karen are doing a great job, and I just wanted to highlight some of our important events. And then Mrs. Sherman's going to cover the elementary school plan as well as the Title I school plan and handbook next week during the voting meeting. And then on the top of page 3, we do have in front of you an agreement with Penn West University and AC Valley. And as we reviewed the agreement, this is specific for the speech and language pathology department. And we'll be working with them to have a student teacher down here working with Wendy Shavak. And that's just a formal agreement. We have a general agreement with a couple of local state schools already in front of the school board, and that's specific for speech. And then moving on, we do have a per student cost for outside cyber school students. In front of you last year, we did not have any, but what we had done a couple years back was we took the overall cost of the athletic budget, divided it by the number of students participating from AC Valley, and we came up with the $2,626.58. And we'll continue to monitor and adjust that number as we continue to have better numbers with the co-op with Union. Are there any questions or comments under instructional strategy or instructional services before we move into policy? Okay, this evening we have 3 policies in front of you for the first reading. And just keep in mind that this is one of the benefits of having a PSBA membership is they send out PNN newsletters periodically and they update policies. This evening we have policy related to meetings, supplemental discipline records, and students experiencing educational instability who have a individualized education program, an IEP. On policy 006, meetings, the only change that was recommended through PSBA is on voting. And provision regarding actions that require the affirmative vote of 2/3 of those voting and presence of a quorum has been removed on both incurring temporary debt and changing textbooks without the recommendation of the superintendent. So the very minor change is the fact that we have to have a affirmative vote of 2/3 of the full membership on those two items, if or when they come from the school board. And then the other piece that's changed is a majority of the full membership has to vote on any kind of changing as far as denying a charter school application, approving or denying multiple charter school applications, and or establishing joint schools or departments. So just a minor change as far as how we vote on policy 06 and changing from policy 06 into policy 216. And there's a number of changes. I'm just going to work our way down through there. It has to do with juvenile probation and the communication that juvenile probation has with the school principals. So this will be policy 216.1, supplemental discipline records. If a student is adjudicated delinquent of a felony offense, the building principal or designee may receive additional information pertaining to the adjudication. Unless restricted by a court order or other applicable laws, principals are going to be provided with more detailed information about the juvenile moving into the district or students moving out. The building principal shall send a written acknowledgement to the probation, and upon receipt of the documentation, the information shall be used for the protection of school personnel and students, arranging for appropriate counseling and education for that student. The information may be used for school disciplinary decisions only if the particular situation took place during school hours or within the school property. So something could happen outside of the district and will be notified, or if a situation took place on campus, then we can work in conjunction with juvenile justice. The juvenile probation officer will continue to maintain that discipline record separate from the school discipline record. And then just finally on 216, as we finish it off, any students transferring out of the district or transferring into the district will be provided with that information as well. And that's great to hear. That's a good piece of information for all school districts.
David, I have a question on that.
Yes, Patty.
I'm trying to think, and I'm trying to think how I want to ask this question. I don't want anybody jumping to any conclusions, but does that include youth that they just have an arrest, they don't have a conviction?
That'll be with students who are already connected in with juvenile justice. So I would have to say that it would be after the student was convicted, unless they were court. I'd imagine if it was a situation where it could have been a felony, I'm sure the student would be removed and provided with the juvenile justice department upon their return. That information would be provided.
Okay.
Good question. Thanks, Patty.
Mhm.
And then finally, under policy, we have policy 251 in front of you. We updated this not too long ago, but it's students experiencing homelessness, foster care, and or other educational instability. And there's a section towards the very end of that will be removed. And it's pertaining to that student and ongoing graduation due to an IEP. So the new information that will be added in there, students experiencing educational instability who have an IEP shall maintain the right to special education and the right to graduate either through the attainment of credits or through the completion of the goals established within the IEP. in accordance to law, regulation, board policy, administrative regulations, and state guidance. And the information that was in there before kind of alluded to the fact that the student could stay within the district even after graduation. But what PSBA had done was clarified that, and once the student graduates, then they're officially done as a student within the school district. And that sounds a lot more in line with the law that I've read. Any questions on policy before we continue to move through the agenda? Okay, Mark will be here next week under facilities, and we'll move right into transportation. Letter A is providing the transportation director with the ability to oversee the routes and place students on routes and making route adjustments throughout the 23-24 school year. This is not only a recommendation from the audit, but it's also good practice on our end. Mrs. Sherman, she'll continue to adjust routes for a while as kids move in and out. If we have any kind of road closures or bridge work that's being done with reroute a bus, you know, Lori's aware of that, and she's been doing the position for a long time, and she knows how to work with the contractors to make the most efficient route. And depending on how much of a change, we may have to alter the end of year reporting as well. So this provides Lori with the ability to make those adjustments on our own. And we've been doing this for a good number of years. Letter B is a request from Myers Transportation to remove the following vehicles: 2008 Dodge Van, 2010 Honda Odyssey, 2014 Honda CRV. Letter C and D are and kind of E are interconnected. We are providing Bobbert busing with the new route bus 10 daily route for the 23-24 school year because calendar transportation no longer holds that route. So we wanted to put that motion from the school board to confirm that. And then immediately following is Bobbert busing, making a request to add a 2012 Bluebird 72 passenger school bus to their fleet to take on the additional route. And then finally, calendar transportation is just making a request to change the bus number. So we're going to approve changing the 2018 IC 72 passenger school bus to bus number 11. So all the routes stay the same, bus 10, bus 11. We're just making some internal switches in here. So the parents and the students, they won't have any kind of guessing game. They'll continue to ride their normal bus number. Letter F is a request from Irwin Contracting to add a 2017 Chevy Traverse to the fleet. And then finally, we have in front of you another list of 23-24 contractors and drivers. Again, just due to the audit as well as good practice, we have everybody in front of you this evening to be approved. Are there any questions under transportation? Okay, moving into miscellaneous, we have a couple items I'd like to review. Career Center report. As Jameen and Brady had mentioned, I'm the superintendent of record, and we had an emergency meeting on July 12th, and that was to renovate a portion of that Career Center and add lockers in there for female changing for various shops. So we approved a bid from Fuller Home Building, Inc. To do the construction, and it was a one-time cost of $60,140. And I believe they pretty much wrapped that job up. They're doing a little bit of work, and that'll be a step in the right direction. And I look forward to continuing to work with Tracy and the JOC board up there. Under correspondence, we have one letter that came from FEMA. To recall, we approved the all hazard mitigation plan last month, and FEMA has approved your plan. The plan meets the requirements of Title 44, Chapter 1, subsection 201.6. And basically what that says is that County of Clarion can now apply for various grants that are impacting that hazard mitigation plan. So the funding due to any kind of disaster, loss, or protection of life and property is moving forward. So it's good to work with Clarion County in that piece of legislation. And then, we'll report out. I don't think we've had any committees since we met last. And then you'll see under new business, as we finish off this evening, this came from the County of Armstrong. And as required by Act 97, planning and commissions are required to notify the school district superintendent of any approved subdivision location within the boundaries of their district. So in Armstrong County Planning Commission sent us up a brief note that in Hubby Township, they're going to split up a lot, and there's now going to be 2 lots associated with a piece of property. Okay, so are there any questions or comments from the school board? That pretty much concludes the workshop and the agenda items that we have in front of you this evening. Okay, hearing none, we will conclude this evening, but let me remind everybody that at 5:30 on August 21st, we will be in the junior senior high school for the Ron Botts gym renaming. And then we'll stay at the high school, move right into the cafeteria, and have the regular voting meeting at 6 o'clock. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.